it's very important. At the very first stage, investor is so much interested in how you're able to tell your story. How much your story is going to resonate with the purpose, with the objective of your startup. If it's serving it well, they're immediately able to highlight that yes, the founder has got the potential, and if we are going to invest our money into the founder's journey, definitely we are expecting the big ROI.
These visas actually only invited people to start a business in the UK, and then after a certain time the visas would end. So they would have to switch to another kind of visa, for example, skilled worker or something else. But this visa has actually solved that problem, and this was launched in 2023. And this visa actually allows you to start a business in the UK, run it for 3 years, and then be able to apply for permanent residency. You are also able to run other businesses along with the core business that you are applying for, and you can also work full-time in a job if you want to work alongside running your own business.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Today we are going to talk about how to start your business in UK. I'm your host, Yusra Ali, and I'm also a marketer, a researcher at Heat Insight. Let me give you a short introduction of Heat Insight. Heat Insight is a UK-based company, a UK-based business consultancy and digital innovation company specializing in helping startups and growth stage businesses to achieve measurable outcomes. From validation to global market entry, we provide a strategic solution and technical operational support tailored to each client's journey. Any idea you have, how you can establish that in UK is today we are going to guide you about that. We have our speaker, Ms. Gulfishan, Tahir, a multi-time entrepreneur and award-winning sports business manager from Sheffield University, associated with ventures of magic fitness and sports, contributing towards the Society for Equitable Opportunities for All. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. We have another host, Shahid Anaya. A lot of students who are from Alumni Council who know him. He's the Director of Operations of Feed Insight and Educationals Whiteboard with extensive experience across education, digital marketing, and gamification. He brings a strategic execution-driven approach to developing a scaling and innovation solution. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today and providing us insight on how can we establish our business in UK. So, as a student and entrepreneur, a lot of students face challenges and they do not have a clear pathway that how they can establish a plan, a business in UK. So I hope we are going to get a clear insight on that how can we establish a business. I would like to start with Ms. Gulfishan. Then how to determine if local business idea has traction in UK market. What are the practical steps that we can go for? If I have an idea, how do I know that it is actually worth it?
That's a very good question. Thank you so very much, Yusra, for hosting this session. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you to the partner, Shahid, for joining us. And for the quick introduction, I am Gulfishan Tahir. I have been a multi-time entrepreneur. I have served to the corporate sector for past 17 years. I started my journey from software engineering, stepped into the marketing sector, worked with some of the PR agencies, and then I and Shahid both formed this company, Heat Insights, in 2013, which is now an established business in the UK. We are serving our services to the business consultancy clients, startup enablement, leading towards the startup ecosystem, some of the market research projects, and the digital marketing services. So this is all about Heat Insights. Coming back towards your question, and that's a very good question. This is the question, to be very honest, this is the question that I have heard from every founder, no matter which industry they're coming from. You talk about food industry, you talk about entertainment, you talk about arts industry, and they're always going to ask the same question: how am I ever going to be sure that I should pursue this topic, this startup, this idea or not. So the very basic answer to this question is, have you got the understanding what exact question you're trying to ask? Is this about, in like, is my idea good enough? Instead of asking this question, you should ask this question: does this idea solve the actual real problem? Is it able to fill the gap, market gap? Is it able to serve to the wider market size? Once you are going to answer these questions, then you're going to get the right confidence. You will be able to explore your potential, what you're capable of putting in front of the world, and then grabbing the attention from the market. It depends on the market research side, market analysis, what you have considered as the target market. So all these fragments actually become the essential pillars of a startup.
Thank you so much for answering. I also have a question that how do I know that whether the UK market is ready for my idea? Like as you said, we need to identify the need and we have to go and fill that gap, the gap that UK needs our idea. But still, it takes a lot of research, and as you know, the time is moving very fast with the AI and innovation that it just takes one day to bring another idea. So how do I know that whether UK market is ready for my idea, and what constitutes an acceptable MVPs for a service based startup are acceptable? Is my
Okay,
question?
again, yeah. So again, for the market research part, the UK is ready or not. When you are willing to bring your startup to this country, so you need to understand the culture. The very first thing, you need to understand the culture. What's the how the cultural sensitivity is going to affect your business, because what kind of customer base you're looking for. Is this coming from the South Asian background? Are you trying to serve your product towards the South Asian market? At least start by reaching out to the potential 15 to 20 customers. Try to start with finding out their frustrations first. What complaints they are giving to you? What their perspective is? Because what I have found, most of the founders have got the optimism bias. They fall in love with their idea, and they start building very good hopes, which is really good. But again, you asked such a wonderful question: how to understand the UK market. So once you will start researching from those 20 potential customers you have found, either through LinkedIn, either through email marketing, and you understand the gap, then you will put more time towards the designing phase of your product, and then idea would go into the execution phase. Now coming towards the service based or the SaaS based setup, so I think it's more about understanding the market, understanding the competitors, and coming towards the consumer behavior. Like what consumer is considering that this is going to be the right option, this is going to be the right feature, considering the SaaS based model, or maybe through some previous service based model, service based system, they are not yet satisfied, so they are willing to accept the new entrants in the market, no matter what's the competitive advantage they are going to get or how big the competition is. So the four core facilities, how I would form in between the comparison about the service based business and the SaaS based business. This depends on the core goal. What is going to be the core goal? For example, there was one startup. We were helping them 3 years ago, and they were trying to come up with a new innovative recipe with a food business. That's a clear set of service-based model. Now, it depends what element you're putting more time towards. Is this about the competitor alignment? or this is going towards the consumer behavior. And particularly in this example, consumer behavior matters the most. If the consumer is not happy, they are not really willing to accept the new innovation in their food taste. So it's not going to earn big revenue. But considering the SaaS-based model, it depends on the core goal, format, what value proposition you're creating, what's the validation metric. Like, have you built such features which are not yet existed in the other competitors? This is something entirely new. And when it comes to the action, so you need to understand how much CAC you're relying on, which is the customer acquisition cost, how much marketing efforts, marketing time you're putting up there, what's going to be the time to value, which we call TTV. Like once you have given them the services, you have showed them the initial model. So how much time is it taking to the customer to start from the initial consultation to be onboarded as the regular client? So all these factors come together, and then they could get you the right analysis, which is actually like starting from the market research, you have to reach to the market analysis phase. So this is the whole journey about these questions.
Thank you so much for highlighting the market validation and market analysis, ma'am. I have another question from you, and then we'll move to Sir Shahid to understand how customer behavior and segmentation can work. My question is that how much initial capital should I or should a startup founder set aside just for the market validation and testing phase?
Thank you so much for conducting the webinar first, and welcome everybody to this webinar. So the question is about the capital, the need of the capital for market validation. Now, this is not a question that I can give you a very straightforward one figure answer to this, because every startup is different. And I can give you the variables that would define the budget for the market validation. So the first thing that we consider is how do we reach the market. So for example, if the market is available online, if our end target market is available and we can reach out to them through emails or LinkedIn, for example, then our cost of reaching out would be significantly low. But if the startup requires that we go out in the field and conduct interviews, then of course the market validation would require commute and time and energy. So it would change all of that. But usually startups spend at least £1,000 to £2,000 if we're talking about the ones in the UK. So at least they spend this much to just get a basic idea of what customers usually are thinking about, because that requires an initial market research. But of course, it depends on the startup idea. It could be lower, it could be higher. The important thing, more than the budget, is how efficiently and how accurately you're getting the results. So if you are talking to people and getting the evidence through video interviews, for example, then that would count as a much useful evidence as compared to having a market survey filled with just like a simple Likert scale questionnaire. So these are the few things that we need to understand to see which market validation strategy would work best for us.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there is one more thing that a lot of startup founders face problem with is understanding the psychology of customers. That's where people, startup founder face problems that they think they are actually solving the problems, but that's not something the customer actually wants. So how do we analyze that this is something the customer is wanting and we have to provide them with the solution they need?
Right. So I would say there are two ways of doing this. So if you live in the country where you are solving that problem, so if you are solving a problem in Pakistan and you want to understand that problem, then the best way would be to actually live with the person who is going through that. Living means that you actually go to the place where the problem is, you see it with your own eyes, you understand it, you go through the process, that's the pain point of the customer. But if you are not, physically present or you cannot access the market where you want to solve the problem. So, for example, you are looking to establish something in the UK, but you have only seen through ChatGPT or Google that there is a problem that exists in the UK, then of course it would not be easy for you to understand it. That's why you would need somebody who lives in the UK, who is able to understand what the real problem is. So you will have to coordinate with them, and they will be able to consult you better that this is the real problem. It might be significantly different from what Google would tell you, because when you live in a place, the problems are sometimes, in fact most of the time, different from what is shown in statistics to desktop research.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your answer, sir. As you said, that people need to access the market and it takes a lot of cost and money. So people look for the fundraisers or people who are willing to invest in their startups. How do a startup actually raise funding and what can a founder find? Where can a founder find the funding if it is the idea is worth for the funds and if they want to move to UK?
Yes, it's a very good idea, and I think most people give up on their idea because they believe that it would be very difficult to raise the funding for it. Richard Branson started with this simple communication with Boeing and asking them that if you have any planes that you are not using, then maybe I can rent them. So it all started with just reaching out to the right people. So of course that strategy has worked for him. It's not that Boeing would have infinite planes out there, so you can just go and do the same thing. Uh, so you have to find out who to reach out, how to reach out, and you have the confidence and the math with you. So of course, any investor, when you reach out to an investor, they would ask you, "What's in it for me?" How do you answer that question? What are you going to give to the investor in terms of equity, in terms of returns, and how would that work? When it comes to the UK, the options are so many. It would take another webinar to just discuss that. So the options are angel investors, there are venture capitalists, then there are grants offered by the UK government to solve certain problems. So if your idea is actually solving a critical problem that exists in the UK, you might even be able to get a grant for that. This is where Heat Insights actually, has its forte, because we not just help in developing the business idea, but we also help with our network of investors here, as well as the understanding of what policies of the UK are supported right now. So, which kind of ideas would be welcome, and what grants have been issued in the last year or few months, then we are able to advise and help connect with the investors and grants. I believe this is something that Gulfishan is actually the person who has done this before for a few of our startups. He would be able to better answer this one.
Yeah, for the grants part, I would agree to your the way you have explained it. You have explained it wonderfully, and I think that sums up the answers. Honestly speaking, it depends on the startups. What kind of startups you're trying to work on? Because considering certain examples, for example, just about 4 to 5 months ago, there was a big grant that was released from the Manchester, and this is to contribute towards the arts sector. They want this thing. They want to serve to the arts community because as per the demographic details they have seen, they have got the clear observation that more of the potential is expected to come in the arts sector, so they have released big arts grants. Now coming towards the fintech area, recently another startup founder, they are working on this industry, so they reached out to me and they talked about this thing like, okay, what should be the right place where I could acquire the big grant in this industry. So Scotland, they are working on the fintech sector. They have released some of very amazing grants, which is actually creating, which is simplifying the whole journey for these startups, because it depends on the size of the startup, what how big you're considering, what plan you're coming up with. Is this going to be the short term plan? Is this going to be the long term plan? For the short term plan, obviously, maybe a SaaS based product that you are planning that it would earn the revenue on the subscription model. It's going to ease the journey for the startup. But in the long term plan, when the startup has been found in a way that depends on the bigger resource, bigger team, so they require bigger investment. They might start the whole journey from the bootstrapping, just finding their own, putting their own money into the startup. Then the way we call it, utilizing the friends and family money, which we call the love money. So you are acquiring the money from your loved ones who trust on you, who give you all those resources. And then it comes to the angel investors, some of the people they don't really want to, just be in front of the public. So you have created those kind of relationships with those people, and then obviously the equity factor that works best. But mainly, what I have observed, based on working with these clients that we have got in the SaaS based product, currently equity financing is working really well. For the service based products, yes, you have to have the right connections. You have to reach out to those business consultancies who have developed big networks. All those investors, they are willing to work on these startups. They are supporting these startups. And the most important thing that they are going to put their focus on is this, in particular time frame, how big of the revenue this particular startup can earn for them. So this is exactly how it works.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope
You're welcome.
as we talked about people who look for the funding, who want funding for their startup, but what does an investor looks in a startup that they think they can invest in it? Because there are a lot of points, there are a lot of sectors as we talked about. There are SaaS space, there are health care, and again, AI is evolving and people are moving towards that. So every investor and a person who needs investment has a different mindset. When we are looking for a grant, we look that we have to provide our best. But what an investor looks in the startup at the initial phase?
At the very initial phase, the most important thing is the face of the startup. This is how I would sum it up, because there are like too many startups because of the successful accelerator programs. Every single day we are seeing many startups that are getting the grants. I myself have worked on some of the grants based startups, and I'm not going into those details how much funds they have earned, but it's very important. At the very first stage, investor is so much interested in how you're able to tell your story. How much your story is going to resonate with the purpose, with the objective of your startup. If it's serving it well, they're immediately able to highlight that yes, the founder has got the potential, and if we are going to invest our money, into the founder's journey, definitely we are expecting the big ROI. So these are going to be the critical things. And the most important thing that I have been mentoring to all the founders, please focus on your storytelling approach whenever you're coming up with the right pitch deck. Whenever you're raising the elevator pitch, you have to understand this thing, how the time frame, how the attention span of your target audience is shrinking. It has shrunk to the 3 minutes now. So understand this thing, how accurate you have to be, how precise you have to be with your storytelling approach, what facts you're telling them, what philosophy you're going ahead with. Because in some of the cases, even if you have got so much confidence in your product, in some of the cases, if that's a well research based product you're going ahead with, like considering the VR industry, so you're expecting the e-sport industry, you're expecting you have to have at least 2 to 3 years of research involved. Considering AI-based adaptation, there are very clear statistics in front of us, like the large industries, when we are considering the AI adaptation factor. So the large industries have significantly reached to 68 percentage in the AI adaptation. But considering SMEs, it still limits itself to 15%. So these are the clear statistics. This is something that we are seeing every day. So when you are understanding the investor point of view, you have to see which investor you are trying to reach out to, what kind of industry they have been serving to, they have been putting their money into, and how strong your storytelling is, how strong your digital visibility is, and again, the product, your startup, is it able to solve the bigger problem, the critical problem for the society or not?
Okay, ma'am. As you both of you gave us answers that how can we build a startup, what should be the initial stages of it. Now, I would like to move to the part where students or entrepreneurs get to know that how they can specifically move to UK after having an idea. Because a lot of people only know about student visas outside and they think that they can only go for student visa. They put a lot of amount into that student visa and even after that they are not getting anything in return. So I would like to ask you first, you ma'am, what is Innovator Founder Visa? If you can explain a bit to everyone who is here, and then we can move to how it works, how we can look for people outside Pakistan for helping us there.
That's a very good question, especially for the students and students' perspectives, because what I have seen every single day, I'm receiving multiple messages on my WhatsApp from the students, and they're asking the same question: should we be taking the student route, or should we just directly plan towards the Innovator Founder Visa? And I'll always tell them this thing: it depends on your intention, it depends on your ambition. Obviously, if you have already built a startup, so you need to see the right target market. It's not about entering into the UK. It's about understanding your requirements. If you are coming here to pursue the higher studies, obviously student visa is going to be the reliable source. The point is, when it comes to the Innovator Founder Visa, so it is to give this freedom to all those students, all that international talent who's coming to the UK. They have studied well from the higher universities, and now they have understood the culture well. They understand that for their particular idea, this is the right target market. So, Innovator Founder Visa is actually a route that gives you the freedom to start your business with these three foundations: innovation, scalability, and viability. Coming towards how the whole journey is going to be formed, I would say, Shahid, you can define the financial projections, like how many startups are taking this route now.
The innovator founder route, actually, the main thing that we need to understand about it is that it is not a route that is similar to the ones that existed before in the UK. So they used to have entrepreneur visa and they used to have startup visa. These visas actually only invited people to start a business in the UK, and then after a certain time the visas would end. So they would have to switch to another kind of visa, for example, skilled worker or something else. But this visa has actually solved that problem, and this was launched in 2023. And this visa actually allows you to start a business in the UK, run it for 3 years, and then be able to apply for permanent residency. You are also able to run other businesses along with the core business that you are applying for, and you can also work full time in a job if you want to work alongside running your own business. And while the UK policies have recently discouraged people coming with dependence on the skilled worker route and on the student route, the students are not able to bring their dependents anymore. The skilled worker, most of them are not be able to bring their dependents anymore. But on this route, you are completely allowed to bring your dependents with you. So this is a big difference, and that's why people are really focusing on the innovator founder visa. The only thing that actually makes it a challenge is that you just cannot go ahead with a business that is generic and has been done for some time. You need to have an innovative business, an innovative idea, something that different from others and is likely to benefit the UK economy and overall outside the UK as well. It should also be able to create jobs in the future. So these are a few things that the UK government sees in a business that makes it eligible for the UK Innovator Founder visa. This is why we actually developed the whole consultancy, and Gulfishan made the whole model for the consultancy behind it, because it's a very complex system and it can only be understood if you follow all it's like juggling all the balls at once. So you need to understand how to balance innovation with the feasibility of a business, at the same time benefiting the community and also creating jobs and being efficient and making good use of technology and understanding what's required, regulations, policies, laws. So there are so many things that you need to understand all at once, and that's very difficult for somebody who is not actually living in the UK or hasn't lived here for some time. That's why, of course, we offer the consultancy, and we would welcome everybody to, reach out to us if they have some good ideas, and we would be able to help them out. So this is a bit about how the Innovator Founder Visa works. Of course, it's a long process, and we can discuss it one to one according to the personal, characteristics and requirements with every individual later on.
There was another question I wanted to ask that as we were talking about government endorsing bodies, that when we enter in the UK market, they look for the innovation and they look for how we are going to solve their problem, how the business is solving their problem. So initially, when entrepreneurs enter that market, they face so many challenges and they are not solely able to solve their problems. How can a person look for a co-founder, or is there any way that they can find help at initial stage?
Of course, I think this is a question that is, the answer to this is answered every day by Gulfisha. when he is dealing with the startups, because she is the one who heads the research part. But I would just quickly, give my 2 cents on this. Um, uh, when we are trying to solve a problem, we should always try to understand what has been done, what has not been done. Is there a better way of doing this? And sometimes we have to understand that it's not about reinventing the wheel, but it might be something that is done in a very novel way, but it's not efficient. So you can make it efficient. If something is being done in an efficient way, but it's not catering to a particular need of a niche market, so you can go for that. So there are different, it's like a filtration process. You filter out hundreds and hundreds of ideas, and and you shortlist them. Keep doing that until you are with a handful of ideas with yourself, and then you test the market. Then you see if you have the technology to build it. Then you see if it's affordable for you to build it, and then probably you would be left with one or two ideas that you can work on. So this is something that I would suggest to everybody. Of course, you would need somebody to help you out with that information and that filtration process. Somebody who lives and knows the market where you want to serve.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Same question I was about to ask because you are looking for it. You do deal with students daily on daily basis. They have a lot of questions regarding how can we establish business. So you must be more familiar with that. I would love to know about that from you as well.
I think it's a very good question, and it's a very frequent question. Very frequent question. Child knows this thing. Like in every day, there are so many meetings booked, and I'm giving one-to-one peer-to-peer mentoring sessions to most of the founders as well. So I think it looking for the co-founder, this is a very critical question, and the most important thing that you have to understand what mindset you are going to go ahead with. Is this going to be the fixed mindset or the growth oriented mindset? Because in the fixed mindset, maybe the pre existing uh, businesses, if considering the previous question of yours, that was very, very good question, like considering the service based business or the SaaS based product. So, if it's a service based product, so you have to understand that fixed mindset would work in such a situation. Why? Because you have to understand your competitive advantage. You have to put more efforts towards the competitive advantage where exactly you can fight with the existing competitor. But when it comes to the SaaS-based product, so automatically it is required that you have to come up with the right USP, unique selling proposition. How uniquely you are identifying the problem, how uniquely you are coming up with different enhanced features, and how those features are going to serve the innovation part. So again, the for the growth oriented mindset, coming towards this AI adaptation, like just I think 3 to 4 years ago, there was too much technophobia involved that at the pace with which AI is evolving, even now we keep hearing different stories. And I don't really want to make any controversial statement. Uh, Simple disclaimer. But the point is, we need to understand this thing, what era we are moving into. We have to understand the AI adaptation part. And if we are coming up with a SaaS based model, so we understand this thing. The team is very, we are not looking for a big team. The team is going to be small at the beginning. Once the system is going to run smoothly on the revenue, then we are going to expand the business. So these things determine what kind of a co-founder you're looking for. If the co-founder is really important, and some of the like a very recent example is there. A group of the co-founders. There were three co-founders involved. That was immediately broken because of the some miscommunication within the co-founders. and there was a serious disclosure involved from the female co-founders that there is a financial fraud. So this is exactly what you need to understand, that when you are relying on the co-founder, you have to understand the mindset, you have to understand the prior work experience. You should understand, can you rely on that co-founder? For example, there was another example, and that's a very interesting example, that was about two co-founders, and when they were going for the investor pitching, so that was the thing, like, who is going to pitch the idea? Now comes the factors with which investors are looking at your pitch. For example, it's a very value driven approach, a very value driven idea. They would expect a woman to lead the position. So 57% of the factors, like considering the perspective of the investor, this is coming towards a cost prohibition factor. So they are looking on these statistics directly. So all these things matter the most, but ultimately it comes to this point, how, what kind of mindset you are looking for, what prior experience they have worked on, are your objectives going to be aligned with the co-founder's objectives in the long run? And this is exactly how you can form the right setup, right team.
Another question I am a woman, you are also a woman, and there are a lot of women who feel discrimination or a lot of other problems that are in our society. Even if we do not speak about it, they silently are there and they do stay there. So I have another question that I want to ask, that what is the status of women-led business in UK?
Women-led businesses, I think it's I should say it clearly, like, it should have gained, much progress in these days, but as per the statistics, I think from 2015 it was about 5.7%, the rise that was observed, and now as per the 2025 statistics, it has reached to something around 9.2 percentage. So you can see the clear difference. Yes, they are on the rise, but again, it comes to this point, how you're facilitating the women, because in a, in such a society where they are continuously talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusive principles, they want women to equally contribute towards the economy. But systems are yet not formed. There's too much pressure involved, because even now, these factors are, they make the significant portion. Like, the woman is single, or is that a mother? There was one startup, I think 1 year ago, that was formed, that was led by two female co-founders, and the objective was to give recruitment opportunities to mothers who have taken the break because of their motherhood, and that's a very big cause, I would say. I mean, this is a significant cause. Only women can understand this thing. So these things matter the most, but still, it is rising, but it hasn't come up with that pace with which it should be rising constantly. And once it's going to be there, then we can create such a legacy in which DEI is actually going to be acceptable by every individual. Because right now, what I have seen, everyone is advocating about DEI. They have not the comprehensive idea how it actually forms the basis of every single thing.
I understood. So there is an awareness gap as well. So people are, sometimes it's more like people just know about that DEI is something that it is working, but some aspects need changes. A lot of aspects need changes, I think, but still we need to educate people on that, and then it's all about proving yourself in that specific field that yeah, this can be work, this can work. We'll be moving to last few questions, and I will. Sir, there was one question that in Star we talked about AI adoption in businesses and technology. What kind of AI adoption we are observing in UK business market right now?
Okay, so the UK market, I think, is one of the markets that has adopted AI at a very, very rapid pace. And if we look at, especially in the tech area, we can see that the AI adoption has been so much that they are, combining different kinds of AI services together for accounting, for parts of marketing, for HR, and for many different services. So as AI adoption is there for generative AI is also very much popular for digital marketing. Along with that, for example, use of AI and robotics is also now being, is now being adopted very much. And I'll give you an example. So we are in a place, and we recently actually were invited to one of the tests that were run on self-driving buses. So that those these are now being tested here, and they would soon be out in the market. We have these robots who are delivering packages to homes in our area. So similarly in warehouses, and we can see those robots already working, and that has been they have been introduced just like in the last couple of years. In the health sector now, they are getting these using these robots again for surgery and other things. So it's adopted at a very rapid pace, and still there are many areas where AI has not been adopted. So there is always potential because AI is actually bridging those gaps that are not filled yet. At the same time, adopting AI itself is something that needs to be governed and needs to be learned. So AI adoption itself is a learning curve where people need help. So we can say in a way that in order to use AI, we again need humans so that we can teach the humans how to use AI.
Yes, yes, Moksha. So there was a question that we got in chat that if you allow me, I would like to answer that on your behalf. That I have seen a lot of women in UK who are working, and again, you inspire and admire me a lot. And there are a lot of other women I see in everyday life who are working in UK and they have started their business. So when it comes to encouragement and empowering, I think government is empowered to businesses who have potential ideas. There is no discrimination from the specific political, as we're not going to talk about it. There is no discrimination from there, but still, it all depends on idea. If I'm not wrong, I would love to ask you for that.
Okay, I'll answer this in this way. That's a very critical insight, and I just had a very good speaking session in a conference about this particular thing. That according to 2025, we encourage. Honestly speaking, UK is encouraging women-led businesses. There are specific women-led business grants for the SMEs, and still. Because of not coming up with a long-term structure of those businesses, in 2025, a report suggests that there were almost 70,000 businesses, women-led businesses, which were at a loss. Why? Because they couldn't continue working on that business. The business wasn't growing further. It wasn't earning them good revenue. And most importantly, team wasn't working with the pace with which the adaptation was required. So that's a big number, but still it doesn't limit the rising potential of the women-led businesses. They are encouraging continuously. I and Shahid were discussing yesterday about the UKRI grants. There are many grants that they are just initiating for the women-led businesses. They are giving opportunity to the women, but in terms of the right AI adaptation. Because as I spoke of this, the 57 percentage, which was about this factor, uh, how to reduce the cost. There are several tools, there are many tools in terms of the AI which are coming, and they are to facilitate you in the finance sector, in the HR sector, in the operations as well. So you can lead a business with even with being a solopreneur as well. But again, it comes to this factor: how efficiently you're using those tools, how much funding you have already raised, how you're creating the cost benefit analysis for the business you're running, so that if you are going to create such a society in which these conversations are being encouraged, that all the people, no matter who is leading the position, all the people are working fine with the vision and the mission. Vision is very important. Vision is always long term. Mission is something about you, you're setting a milestone. So if you have created such a culture, such a positive environment, then definitely all the businesses have the equal potential to gain a race. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your feedback on your answer on that, ma'am. I think we are about to end this session here. It was a really amazing session, and I hope we will get more potential people to be with us next time. And sir, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Ma'am, there is one more thing I want to tell everyone. If there's any consultancy or regarding the question, you can reach out to us on our website, which is Even Site. I'll be sharing the link in the community group. And if you want the consultancy, you can just fill out the form and reach out to us there. I think let's find it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the participants. Thank you, Yusra, for hosting. It was really a great session, full of information, and that would be my message to you, to every participant who has been able to attend the session. Please feel free to discuss your ideas, because understand the journey of a business. Whoever has got the idea, they have some backstory associated to that idea. There is always a great story which is hidden, which is not being uncovered by the people who can be benefited from that story, from that philosophy, from that ideology behind that business. So please bring that story in front of the people, communicate well, reach out to the right business consultancies, make good connections. Through social media, this is very much feasible. Just keep connecting to the people. Most of the people are not interacting directly on the post. This is something that I have observed. It's perfectly fine. You can always reach out to the people through the direct messages, but please start sharing your ideas. That would be the right advice.
Thank you so much. Sir, if you want to say something,
Thank you very much, everybody, and it was amazing. Of course, everybody is welcome, and we would encourage a conversation in the community as well. Community groups are always good because it gives different perspectives on the same thing. So it's always a good idea to do that, and we are also, of course, our door is open for a one-to-one consultancy. Always good to talk to people.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.